Hi, I'm Jax the Reviewer, you're the audience, and this is my Godzilla Retrospective. Now, after King Kong vs. Godzilla brought life back into this franchise, 2 years later it was time to make another Godzilla film. And who should fight Godzilla? None other than a giant moth. Because that sounds like a smart idea, right? This is 1964's Mothra vs. Godzilla, and sees Godzilla take on a giant moth, Mothra, who previously starred in her own film prior to this, making it another crossover with Godzilla. In the American cut of this film, the name is changed to Godzilla vs. The Thing, rather than Mothra vs. Godzilla, and I can just imagine John Carpenter will be pissed. As well as this, it has double the budget of the original Godzilla film, and it also sees the return of Akira Ifukube on the music, and Ishiro Honda doing the directing, who directed the first ever Godzilla film. With all this credibility behind it, surely this has to be a good film. Well, let's find out as we dig straight into Mothra vs. Godzilla, or Godzilla vs. The Thing. As we start this film off, straight away we are given some Nissan product placement. Wait a minute, the director of this film was called Honda. What the hell is going on here? After a wild hurricane, debris has covered a dock. Photographing this event is our protagonist, the journalist Ishiro Sakai, and Junko Nakanishi.
How many did you get?
None yet. This is my first.
Your first? This is an art, you know. Just go ahead and shoot.
Funny, I think most directors of Kaiju films have the same rule. They soon discover a strange and colourful item, along with a giant monster-sized egg. As a report goes around about this giant egg, we are introduced to Torahata. He's another reporter and some kind of egg expert. I mean, this guy is seriously never in a scene where he isn't eating an egg. At the sight of this egg, there is a religious zealot who is trying to get rid of all the curses with this egg, but something tells me he's not going to be very successful.
You remember, the gods will look after you. Have faith. I'll offer prayers to them. You'll be protected from any monster's curse. You'll be protected from any monster's curse.
To give credit to this film, the egg effects are insanely good. Like, I can't tell what is a miniature and what's a giant set. And this is me being serious. Most of these egg effects are really good, but some of them don't work as well as others. Scientists begin to perform tests on the egg, and it is then that we are introduced to our third protagonist, Professor Miura. A group of 2 men and 1 woman. Where have I seen this before? The egg is soon purchased by an entrepreneur named Kumayama, who works for Happy Enterprises. He's the film's antagonist, and he is an asshole in all of the best ways.
You're a photographer, aren't you? All right. Take my picture. That picture ought to be excellent, huh?
Kumayama and his associate plot to build an incubator around the egg. It is then that they are visited by 2 small twin girls. They warn that the egg must be returned. The 2 businessmen attempt to catch the girls, only for them to escape. To be fair to the film, the effects of the twins are actually really stellar, and they hold up to this day. The twins visit our protagonists and explain that the egg comes from the island of Mothra, and that Mothra is a powerful creature whose island was ruined by nuclear testing. And now, if the egg hatches outside of that island, the larva will wreak havoc on the people, looking for food and its parents. The trio attempt again to convince the businessmen to return the egg, and when that fails, the twins leave and it appears that all hope is lost, and it's time to give up.
I'm afraid it's all quite useless.
Is there anything else we can do?
If I knew, I'd be doing it.
It does look hopeless.
And so there's nothing further that we can do.
Goodbye, friends. We're going home to our island. We're sorry we couldn't take the egg back with us, but we'll never forget your kindness. Thank you.
Oh, I see. Then everything is wrapped up in a neat little package.
However, Professor Miura discovers that the colourful object they found is actually radioactive, which is strange as the egg was not radioactive. This is because this piece made contact with Godzilla. That's right, Godzilla is awake and he woke up on the wrong side of the beach. The classic theme plays and it really gets you excited, and after that we're treated to a mix of some of the best Godzilla effects and some of the worst Godzilla effects, all in the same sequence. As well as this, there's a new suit and it looks amazing. Really the only letdown is the head, which seems to get progressively worse each film, but there's still a lot of room for it to get worse, so I shouldn't complain too hard. And of course, as is tradition, Godzilla wrecks the pagoda, and this is really satisfying to watch. Seeing every chunk and every piece fall apart, this is one of the highlights of this franchise, seeing the pagoda destroyed each and every time.
He fell into it! He just tears that shit apart!
As always, the American cut sees Americans edited into the film to try and give it that patriotic feel. And it's good and bad. The shots are amazing. I mean, they set the Godzilla suit on fire, and that is definitely fun to watch. The explosions are incredible, but this must be quite embarrassing for the Americans. I mean, they have terrible aim in this film.
Patriotism.
Ultimately, the army is unsuccessful, and our trio meet up to discuss what is to be done. It's suggested they get Mothra's help and have Kaiju fight Kaiju. Torahata is quickly becoming my favourite character, and you can tell that his voice actor is giving it his all.
My idea is to ask it for assistance against Godzilla. That's it. You're a genius. That's what I think. Do you think I should get a raise?
To get Mothra's help, they have to go to Mothra Island, and it's quite a desolate place, filled with bones, death, ash, and the aliens from Laser Blast. Seeing what nuclear fallout has done to this island, and how nuclear warfare could destroy civilizations, they start to realise that maybe peace will always be the better answer.
All of mankind is responsible.
It's like the end of the world here.
This island alone is good reason to end nuclear testing. Those who think of war should come and see this, eh?
Eventually they meet the local natives of the island, because it couldn't be a Godzilla film without natives. And these natives look pretty good considering they've survived nuclear warfare. The natives are resistant to helping at first, but eventually the twins and Mothra are convinced and decide it's time to save the world one last time, as Mothra is on her deathbed, injured by all the nuclear testing. At the same time, the military begin their plan to stop Godzilla, covering as many points of the map as they can. The military have clearly grown as a result of their constant Godzilla attacks. Kumiyama soon realises that the egg that he invested so heavily in will soon be destroyed, as opposed to his business partner, who had tricked him and never invested any money himself. Kumiyama is furious and takes it out on his business partner.
I want my money back, and I'm not going to rest until I get it. You took everything I had, and then you dare to say we were partners.
We are, you know that.
Swine, you took everything and made me borrow my own money, and then you charge interest. I'll kill you.
Please, please don't kill me.
You deserve it after what you did to me. You crook.
Whoa, that escalated quickly. Well, now Kumiyama is free to steal all the money for himself. Wow, shit. In what's actually a really creative idea, the partner kills Kumiyama and steals all the money, knowing that Godzilla is on his way and will destroy all of the evidence. Unfortunately for him, Karma is a bitch, and he is killed with all of his money destroyed. This scene really impresses me because this entire subplot could have been its own movie, yet it was contained in this one film. And what's important about that is, it all came to an end by Godzilla accidentally knocking his tail against a building. Just the tip of his tail destroyed an entire subplot that could have been its own movie. That tells you the kind of scale that these kaiju have, that we are so insignificant to them. When Godzilla is just about to destroy the egg, Mothra shows up, and Godzilla's face says it all. A fight is just about to begin. The fight is definitely a mixed bag. It has some cool shots, like seeing Mothra drag Godzilla, but the editing is awful. It feels like the fight sequences in Batman Begins. It's the same formula we've seen twice before. The monsters fight whilst the humans stand to the side and commentate, explaining what is happening to the audience. The fight comes to an end as Godzilla burns Mothra's wings. Mothra retreats, Godzilla runs away victoriously, and the army retreat as well. The army manages to fend off Godzilla, and the cinematography here is striking. The explosions feel so real, and I feel awful for the guy in the Godzilla suit, because it takes a pounding in this scene. Look at that! A cool bit of trivia is that in the first Godzilla film, he burst through electric pylons like they were nothing, but in King Kong vs Godzilla, suddenly they were his weakness, and now he's back to his badass self, smashing through them like nobody's business. The following scenes have an amazing sense of dread, as the people panic onto boats with a consistent lingering shot of the open water. Godzilla can strike at any point, it's inevitable. This is very similar to how the first film showed very little so as to build tension. The egg begins to flash, and out of it comes the babies of Mothra, who look strikingly similar to the babies from Eraserhead. As Godzilla pursues a group of schoolchildren, he is chased by the lavas. Eventually catching up with Godzilla, one bites his tail and it is thrown around comedically. Finally, the two lavas fire their venomous webs at Godzilla, and he becomes so encased in them that he rolls off the side of a hill. This has a strong sense of deja vu. Godzilla has been defeated, the children are safe, and the lava return to their home as credits roll. And that concludes Mothra vs Godzilla. So what did I think of Mothra vs Godzilla? Well, it's one of the better films so far. Okay, the story has some issues. For example, the nuclear war commentary has definitely lost its subtlety, and the plotline of the natives not wanting to help against Godzilla because of the city dwellers refusing to return the egg, it grows stale fast and quickly becomes a constant back and forth, with the natives coming off as stubborn and just interrupting the plot. However, a huge strength for this film is its cinematography. It feels inspired with some beautiful shots. Having Ishiro Honda on the directing seat is clearly a benefit. However, this film has its fair share of bad shots as well as good ones. Got a lovely palette of browns here, haven't they? So it seems like we're back on track with this franchise. Raids again represented a dip in quality, but King Kong vs Godzilla saw the uphill climb begin, and this film is back where it needs to be with this franchise, and so we're in a good place right now. This film has everything a good Godzilla film needs. It has creative action, humans that serve as the plot, not derail it, and the quality dubbing we've all come to know and love.
So, you see, a good politician never lies. As soon as the land is drained, we intend to start again. That story was a lie! It's
because of these reasons that I give 1964's Mothra vs Godzilla 7 singing twins out of 10 and a high recommend. Okay, it's time for my weirdest moment of the week, where I pick out what I think was the weirdest thing in this film. Now, in a film where a giant moth fights a radioactive dinosaur, I could fill this section with all numbers of things. So I've decided to go for more of a nitpick this time. In the scene in which the group are discussing how long it would take Mothra's egg to hatch, Tora Hatter explains that his egg took 7 minutes to hatch.
This egg took 7 minutes.
That's a chicken egg.
The monster egg is equal to about 1 million in chicken eggs. So if you multiply it by 7...
However, the egg he is holding is clearly a hard-boiled egg, considering the fact that he then goes on to eat it. Hard-boiled eggs do not hatch. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next review, where Godzilla takes on his biggest threat yet, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
You be protected from any monster's curse.